Greetings, everyone, and welcome once again to Oberon's Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges, which is my weekly tarot forecast to give you the details on the ups and downs, the energies that conflict with emotions, things like that, your currents and undercurrents. And that's a weekly report I bring to you on Thursdays, but it's for the week ahead from Fridays till the following Thursday. And in this case, that would be Friday, July 17th till next Thursday, July 23rd. So we go through the zodiac signs. We read for the signs as they're arranged by their elemental association. So we're going to start off with our air signs. That's these guys here. And air signs are Gemini, Libra, and of course Aquarius. And we give them a word of the week. So that word of the week is generosity. Generosity. So air signs need to keep that in mind, that maybe with the emotional things going on, they might find opportunities to just be a little bit kinder and be a little bit more generous to folks. I think it would be a good idea for everybody, really. But we're going to go ahead now with your reading. Didn't give myself enough table space here in front, or so it seems. But I have my 3 cards, and these guys are the Devil reversed, and the 8 of Swords reversed. And then finally, we have the 7 of Coins, or the 7 of Discs. And that one is upright. Well, the Devil reverse looks like we are looking at some of our obsessions, some of our bad habits. These may be emotionally inclined, since this is an emotional-based reading. And we're wondering if maybe, we're just a little bit too fond of these, if they're distracting us from other more worthy goals in our lives, or if maybe we're just are finding ourselves in something of a little bit of a questionable relationship or situation with somebody. I won't say toxic, but that Devil reversed usually has a handful of stuff going on with it. I'm not sure if that's what I'm really seeing with the 8 of Swords reversed, but it looks to me like maybe coming from that. Maybe what happens is there is maybe perhaps a break here with people or situations that are represented by that first card, because the 8 of Swords reversed looks to me like somebody is sort of pulling themselves out of a situation. They're changing some of the energies around them. They're looking for answers. They're looking for a way forward. And yet at the same time, I'm thinking, though, that when this is all said and done, they may still find themselves really kind of in a holding pattern, that although they have a little bit more freedom to see where they're coming from, this challenging obsession card, but what they may find with the 7 of Pentacles or Discs is that they really need to hold steady there a little bit. Like maybe there's still something that hasn't quite matured enough to that point where you can really take it and do something else with it. So it's an evolution or a maturation thing. Still, you are trying to get out of this. To me, it almost sounds like maybe, it's dealing with some of the things going on with COVID-19. I know that in the next week or so, a lot of people are possibly still facing the idea of dealing with summer school for their children or other situations, and there's a lot of heated stuff out there, and everybody really needs to work on respecting boundaries and waiting for things to be. That could be very well what that's telling us there. So that's what I have for the air signs. And we're going to move on now to the fire signs. Fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And their word of the week is the navigator, or navigate, navigation. Lovely little card there. So I'm thinking that for you guys, you are perhaps the one that really has to work through, what's going on with some of these volatile energies around us. Mercury has indeed gone direct, but we're still within that 2 weeks, and will be for about another 10 days or so, maybe 9 days, where we may have to really look at what happened and evaluate what that meant. What were the things were meant to learn from the Mercury retrograde? What are the situations that we can work on and straighten out? And so with the navigator, I guess what I'm suggesting there is that fire signs in particular are going to be dealing with this kind of situation. They're going to be looking at how they can lend themselves to moving in between those rocky, possibly, dangerous or slightly dangerous situations. So I hope that's not going to be too rough. I think fire signs generally tend to be navigators in their own way, if you know what I mean. So we're going to just go on now and do that reading for them. And I do hope that you may like this reading and indicate on the YouTube button the like. You could also do us a favor and share it, or subscribe if you haven't, to our channel, and you'll get notifications of when we do our live streaming, which you see the schedule there, as well as notifications of other events happening. Thank you very much. Would appreciate. Comments are welcome too. Okay. And we're picking our cards now. We have a Prince of Swords reversed. We have the Nine of Coins upright. That's pretty. I like that one. And then we have the Ace of Cups upright. Oh, that's so nice. I'm going to have to show it over there too. Ace of Cups. Well, Ace of Cups. That's good. That's really good. Prince of Swords reversed. I think for fire signs, maybe keeping in mind the navigation card, the word of the week we gave you a few moments ago, you guys will have some challenges. It may be that these challenges mostly revolve around how people see you as being the honest partner, the good messenger, the person who's bringing news. Maybe other people are thinking you're not really cut out to be that navigator person. The Prince of Swords is like the Page of Swords. Could be a person who's supposed to be exhibiting grace and diplomacy and tactfulness, and maybe you're in a rough situation here. Maybe you're trying to really navigate between some really diametric forces. I'm getting a feeling of that. With the Nine of Coins, the Nine of Pentacles, we could say that represents the idea maybe of safety, solidarity, staying safe. There's that sense of being solitary there. The Nine of Coins tends to be somebody who's comfortable and who is enjoying things, but at their own terms, at their own level. The Ace of Cups could be talking about things blooming forth. Maybe there's competing forces of those who want to just say, let love solve the answers, and then the other persons or forces are saying, no, we need to hold steady, we need to be protective. Pentacles, discs, really represent a lot of strong protective elements. In some cosmologies, where they may give them, a magical meaning, the pentagrams sort of represent dragons, and dragons are protective, whereas cups, maybe they're more like graceful, and so they're sort of like throwing caution to the wind maybe and saying, let's go out there and live. So I'm thinking you're feeling there's a difficult situation that you have to navigate this week, and it mostly is coming between people that you care about, but who want to just really open up again, and then those who maybe are saying it's not time yet. Maybe this is also within yourself. Maybe you're going to be having this conversation or this idea going on within yourself, and how you have to deal with it with some people that are really close to you, or people that you're responsible for, things like that. So I'm hoping that will help you for this week. I'm thinking you just need to reach down in and look for your level of confidence, and look for the ability to apply an open heart to situations. I mean, maybe it's not so much being between the opposing forces, but maybe it's learning to appreciate both their sides and learning to figure out what the diplomatic solution would best be, how to really help people integrate safety, or understand the concepts of safety and maybe quarantining, etc., versus trying to live that freer life that everybody's been yearning for. Tough call there. So we're going to move on to the water signs now. Water signs. Water signs are Cancer and Scorpio and Pisces. And, they're usually the more emotional ones. But I think, too, there's an emotional intelligence about most of us water signs. And that we understand things at a different level. And I know for myself that maybe, I'm not always effective in really articulating that less than emotionally, but that's what I got to work with. So here is our word of the week, water signs. Initiation. And I like to believe that every time we approach a more meditative state of mind, that we're trying to vibrate to some higher ideals, that we're praying, that we're lighting candles, that each time we do that, we initiate ourselves to the sacred around us, however we view that. So I think water signs, you should be thinking about those things and how you can bring that sense of initiation, of newness, of rebirth, of transformation into everyone else's life as you can too. Hopefully that works for you guys. Maybe you're also too about understanding the secret nature of things, bringing forth the epiphanies and enlightenments that people need to see at this time. So go forth, water signs. You are way showers. You are way showers. You show us the way. Woohoo! Alrighty then. So we are going to shuffle those cards for the water signs. And here we go. And we have the Seven of Cups reversed, the Five of Coins, the Five of Pentacles or discs. That one's upright. And then we have Justice, and that would probably be Ma'at there. I see the double crown. And Ma'at is the Egyptian analog or version corresponding perhaps to Athena or other patrons of justice. So what does that mean? Well, we're thinking about initiation, about, bringing new vitality or new understanding or enlightenment to us. But with the Seven of Cups reversed, it's also too a time of saying, maybe we are looking at what we had thought we were going to do, those things that were fantastic and that we really wanted to be out there on, and maybe we're thinking, no, we have to kind of rein in some of that a little bit. We have to focus on what will best work at this time. It may be that we have a particular need to really focus and bring all of our resources in more on one project than a number of them, because maybe some of the other ones are not necessarily realistic. And we're going to find that because we're being initiated, and we're understanding that some new levels of awareness may help us out in this. Now with the 5 of discs, though, there is maybe some sense that some of this we have to mitigate for others perhaps too, because I'm thinking this doesn't apply to us directly so much as maybe it applies to an atmosphere that we're involved in, and that maybe we also need to be aware that there still are a lot of people around us who are not seeing the way. And the 5 of discs sometimes can indicate that that way is really there, but for some reason the awareness is just not quite in sync with that. So if we go back to initiation, maybe this is what that means too, that we are bringing that sense of awareness, enlightenment, opening a book and seeing knowledge to others too. Maybe that also have a stronger impact on ourselves. So I hope that that's hopeful for those who may be in our environment that we need to work with. As you know, all of these readings really speak to what's going on in our emotional lives too, and we're all dealing with these kind of situations that are either within ourselves or within those we care the most about, those who we are the most responsible for. So think about that too. But finally, then we have justice, and I guess to me what that's saying is that perhaps once we move through those situations in this week, we will find a measure of resolve with justice. We will find the strength within us to write that compassion large for the world, large for our personal world. And maybe it's also talking to, if I wanted to go a little mundane, with Mercury just moving directly again, maybe the time will come for some movement on perhaps key decisions that we've been putting off, water signs, or key ways of looking at advancing these other agendas that I'm speaking of, trying to synchronize to one more firm goal and trying to help others with their dark nights. So that's pretty much what I'm seeing with the water signs, and I'm hoping that that was helpful for you. Thank you. So finally, at last, we're going to move on to our earth signs. And earth signs are Taurus and Virgo and also Capricorn. I have a lot of Capricorn in my chart. So sometimes I find I get some value from what I'm saying about the other signs if it's something in my chart that's going on perhaps. You might want to do that too, like if you know that your rising sign is not the earth sign, but maybe it was a water sign, so you might want to check that out and see if that resonates to you. At any rate, earth signs, you get a really cool word of the week. You get preeminence. And preeminence sort of looks like, maybe another version of the emperor. It may have maybe some stronger connotations, or maybe less. I don't know. The emperor is sort of like an archetype that transcends, most of the regular cards because it's a major arcana. But in this sense, preeminence could also be talking about really the epitome of corporal power, the ability to really be in charge of, have the responsibility, have the charge of taking care of things at a more administrative level. So I'm thinking that's what's going on, is that earth signs, you may have some work to do in that emotional landscape, but mostly about really ordering things. You maybe are the ones who are going to say, okay, we got to face up to the reality and we have to put these things in place and we have to work that way. So that's corporal power in a way. It's working with what is real, what is really going on. It's not necessarily talking about temporal power, symbolic power, that kind of thing. So we're going to get your reading now and see what else is going on in this week. And remember, this is good for the week July 17th, Friday, till next Thursday, July 23rd. And I thank you once again for coming to my show. Don't forget to watch Banshee's show on Sunday mornings, and she does the flip side. She deals more with your material matters, things that are more about your finances or material prosperity or things of that sort. So we're kind of like bookends to each other. At any rate, here is the reading. And our first card for the earth signs is the Magician. He's reversed. Then I have the Queen of Discs. That one's upright. And then I have the Nine of Wands, which is also upright. So it's kind of interesting in a way because two of those cards sort of seem to be like in a back and forth with each other. The Magician reversed, it could be speaking to the idea that even though we are charged with being preeminent and maybe making good decisions and being responsible for those that were in our charge, so to speak, but maybe we're a little bit out of gas here. Maybe we're having some problems a little bit, maybe because I'm sensing that some of the lines of demarcation are not clear. That somebody will say, oh, well, you go do that. But does it involve things that maybe they need to make sure somebody vouches for that? Liabilities, things like that. It's one thing to tell somebody, theoretically, you could go there and change some major protocol, a standard operating procedure. But if you did that, and if there was something really unsound about it, that would not be good. So maybe you're feeling that some of that responsibility is not exactly been vetted correctly. Like I'm just getting a feeling here, like things are maybe not exactly on the up and up with that. Or that in general, that's relating to the emotional matters, that if you can't really have support behind you and really have the vision and the belief and all the other things that you need, to do that, then you might be causing a problem. But yet at the same time, I'm seeing that Queen of Discs there, and the Queen of Discs is the person who seems to know really how to take things and create them. So maybe this is like they're working together. Like maybe there's this idea here that although there is an exact sense of support or direction, there is somewhere else in there something to guide you, and you need to look for that. It may be coming from a corner, an area you didn't suspect. I'm wondering if that's what the Nine of Wands is about, that maybe there's somebody who will mentor you, somebody who's been through this before in this situation, and maybe they are the person who really is that Queen of Discs. Maybe they are the person who knows what to do in these situations. This is a person maybe that's had to work with various kinds of reorgs or things that maybe, create emergency situations. Because I'm wondering if it could be about that a little bit. Maybe we're talking about people who are managers. There are managers maybe who manage a lot of really important, critical things. There might be people who just need to manage their own household. And maybe when you're in your own household and you're not figuring out why it's so hard to do the certain things, maybe you need to find that person, your great aunt, your father, an older brother or sister who maybe has that experience. So it can really transcend to between things that might seem more simple to actually maybe are going really, up there to higher levels of administration. So that's what I have for the earth signs. Look for your mentors. Look for those that support you. Look for what allows you your own sense of creativity, because I think that's there in the Queen of Discs, and normally it would be in the Magician, but being reversed, there's something curtailing that. Look for that person. Look for Grandma Moses. Look for whoever that is and see if they can help you. And I hope that was a good one for you guys for the outlook on emotional exchanges. I'll be back next week. I usually deploy these Thursdays at 3 o'clock, and I'll put out the announcements around that time on Twitter and Facebook. It's been really great being with you, so I hope you will have a wonderful week and always be smiling.